Hello friends, how are you? Now I'm not sure how many of you have seen that really impressive and interesting video about global warming by Mr. Algo. But today I just wanted to add a couple of cents of my own into the hat, just to put into perspective human frailty as well as childish imprudence. To explain the thought which is actually going behind this video, let me take an example of water. Remembering from our school days, we all know that water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Now, there's a scientific process called uh, freezing point depression, in which you add different things and that makes water stay liquid at much lower temperatures. An example is when you put salt on snow to melt the snow on road. Uh, what that does is when you add things into water, the water can stay liquid at much lower temperatures than 0 degrees, so it won't become ice. Uh, in fact, without even adding anything, pure water can be made to stay liquid up till as low as minus 40 degree Celsius. But the point is, there is a temperature beyond which water changes completely from liquid to solid. Now, there's a big difference in something being liquid and something being solid. They are two completely different states of matter. Now, digging more into that, the same example, water does not turn into ice automatically just like this. It's a process. It's not one molecule of water individually changing into one molecule of ice. It's a few molecules of ice which join together and make a small ice crystal. Now, once that ice crystal is formed, it encourages other molecules in its vicinity to form ice crystals. And if you have a bowl of water that you have put in a freezer, such crystals will form individually and then attach to each other due to intermolecular forces and make that big ice cube. Now, the snow that you see on mountain tops, it's not one single cone of snow falling down from the sky. It's small snowballs, snowflakes. But when they stick together, their intermolecular forces make them into one thick solid layer. So basically, ice is made up of crystals of ice grouping together. But there is a temperature at below which that formation of crystal starts. Normally it's 0 degrees, but of course we can lower it down, as I've already said. But the thing is that there is an initiating event which sets into motion another chain of events which changes the entire thing completely. Now, why am I taking this example in this video about global warming? Now, we are all living in this thought bubble that there's so many degrees of temperature going up in every so many years, and this is how it will affect the ice caps at the poles and on the mountains and all that stuff. What we are not realizing is that we are actually heading into a direction where we are reaching a tipping point. And what is that tipping point? That tipping point is like the freezing point. At the freezing point, a thing's characteristics change completely, drastically. A liquid water becomes solid ice. That's a complete change of character. We wouldn't even realize when we'll reach that tipping point of carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere. But once that point is reached, there will be no turning back for us. Now, this video is about that, and this is where that ice crystals example is gonna fit in. We are churning carbon dioxide at record levels. You just need to watch Mr. Algo's video to get in deeper into the figures, and those figures are actually fairly old now, and we are actually churning a lot more carbon dioxide than the figures mentioned in those videos. But there are some mind-boggling expositions in that video. But that said and done, the thing is, once we'll hit that tipping point, there then all we'll need is one triggering event, like one crystal formation of ice sets into motion, the entire ball freezing into a solid block of ice. Imagine our world, our globe, as one block, one single dish. We don't have separate units of atmosphere, that this is atmosphere for Australia, this is atmosphere for India, this is atmosphere for America. No, it's one single block of atmosphere which covers the entire globe. So it's one single dish. All it will need, once that tipping point is reached, all it will need is one event, and that event will set into motion events globally, a global catastrophe. Now, what is this catastrophe that I'm talking of? You all know the power of tornadoes. Do you think you'll be safe in the big buildings or powerful structures? When that tipping point is reached, the kind of tornadoes that you can expect would be much more ferocious than what are already being churned out every year now. The tornadoes have increased in frequency, the typhoons have increased in frequency, and not only have they increased in frequency, they have increased in their impact as well. They are much more harsher than what they used to be. Now imagine the tornadoes and typhoons that will emerge out of the atmosphere, which has already reached that tipping point. We don't know that tipping point, but when we'll get to that tipping point, we'll have no turning back. And that's when all those big solid concrete structures that you think are safe, they will be blown to shreds by the environment. And if you think you'll be safe in bunkers, then it won't. If there will be typhoons and tornadoes flattening every structure on the level, there will be massive flooding, which will flood all the bunkers that you would be able to dig into. And if you think you can live on mountains and escape low level area flooding, then mountains will be the worst, because most of the rain hits mountains first. Deserts, they don't have water. I don't know what will happen with them, but of course it wouldn't be that hospitable over there as well, because weather will, once that stage is reached, I don't think weather will discriminate between desert and vegetation area. And the worst problem is, once that tipping point is hit and the environment will start biting back, the reason I say you will not be able to turn it back is that even if at that point you shut down every industry and every vehicle, and you stopped eating cooked food, you stopped using gas to cook your food, and rather started eating raw food, even that will not turn the clock back, simply because we all would still be alive and we would be breathing in oxygen and letting out carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide in atmosphere will not decrease. And if you think vegetation will come to your rescue, in that weather condition, there will not be sun out for days, and the plants would not be able to do photosynthesis and regenerate oxygen. However, the plants would still be using oxygen for respiration and giving out carbon dioxide. The vegetation that you are cutting down today, it will suffocate you at that point of time. It will suffocate you because your lungs are not the same as a tree's leaves. Your lungs are deep inside your body, while the leaves are out there dancing in oxygen. And the worst part is, we are so small, so low, and the trees are so huge, so up there. And when the environment would have warmed, warm air rises up, all the oxygen would be rising up, and the trees would be soaking up all the oxygen, doing their respiration, while you'll be suffocating down there. And the worst part is, in spite of you shutting down everything, the trees would still be adding carbon dioxide, and there will be no turning back, because you will be adding carbon dioxide with your respiration as well. So everything would be churning out carbon dioxide at that time. Once that tipping point is reached, there is no turning back. Now the question is, who will you blame at that time, provided you survive?